5 seconds remaining.
So, we are all set and ready to get underway
Reserve time.
for Game 2 between PG Eclipse and Team Resilience, also known as Forge Gaming, in the Heroic Bracket. Game 1 going the way of PG Eclipse. Pretty one-sided landslide victory, as they went up, I believe it was 25-6. They took all the outer towers relatively quickly, hit Roshan, grabbed the Aegis, immediately took the middle lane of Rax, and then slow sieged the bottom lane of Rax down while they still had that golden experience advantage, and really starved Forge Gaming out of the game as quickly as they could.
10 seconds remaining.
In Game 2 here, bit more thought going into the first round of bans, as Team Resilience opt to throw out a respect ban on the Tusk there,
team ban,
which was used against them in Game 1, as well as the Void. So,
team ban.
seeing what PG Eclipse were able to accomplish with those two heroes, they don't want to have to face it again. They get rid of those two heroes. Meanwhile, PG Eclipse sticking to their game plan, banning out the Invoker.
Remaining.
We'll see if they go with the same ban for their number 2.
5 seconds remaining.
And they decide to mix things up and ban out the Ancient Apparition. So the AA ban to me suggests that PG Eclipse are going to pick up some heroes that look to have a lot of sustain during prolonged team fights, look to have a lot of healing mechanics. So I suspect we'll see some sort of Necrophos or Omni Knight or something like that here on the dire side of the map. But seeing the AA ban from PG Eclipse, it's Team Resilience that strike first and pick up a healer of their own in the form of Witch Doctor. Witch Doctor, one of the most picked supports I've seen coming out of the Shanghai major qualifiers right now, and it's because he has a lot of versatility.
10 seconds
of
remaining.
course, he has a stun. While it's not the strongest support stun out there, you don't have the same sort of lockdown capabilities as like the Lion or even a VS. It is a stun, and used in the right circumstances, it can be just as devastating. It's just a little bit more skill-based than right-click and forget about it. He also has the heal, which he'll be able to get off because, as we see above, the AA is banned out of the game. Maledict providing that increased damage over time for any of his allies, and the always potent, always threatening Death Ward that he'll be able to channel. And depending on if he's going to be relegated to that 5th slot support role or 4th slot, he may be able to find himself some farm, getting ags, and make that Death Ward bounce around the PG Eclipse lineup, wreaking havoc.
Radiant team pick.
Travdude is in the channel, ladies and gentlemen. So special shout out to my friend Travdude. Used to cast with him, I believe it was about 2 years ago. He had his own channel for quite some time, and that's where I learned the joy and love of casting.
10 seconds remaining.
So he was definitely fun to co-cast with, and I hope to get him on here and mic'd up and co-casting alongside me one of these days. But great to see you in the channel, man. Great to have played some games with you here recently. Glad to see you're back into Dota.
Spirit Breaker.
And hopefully you get back to casting with me again here soon. Mindstruck to respond to you. I do not know anybody that casts CSGO matches. I know they're out there. Where there's a competitive atmosphere, there's all sorts of people who like to support the game. I know I'm never going to be an 8K MMR player, but I like to do what I can to help promote the Dota community, and this is one of the ways I do that, through casting. And I know that same love exists for all games, even those games that shall not be named League, and first-person shooters like CS:GO.
10
I'd also
seconds
like to give
remaining.
another shout out to Triforce602. Appreciate the follow, man. Thank you very
5
much.
seconds remaining.
And as I should say, as I and we shift our focus back to the draft here, you can see the second round of bans have come out. Zeus once again being banned out, as well as the Magnus, Team Resilience recognizing that PG Eclipse are going for right now a very AoE centric team fight lineup. They have the Kinetic Field and Static Storm coming out of Disruptor, which is going to allow PG to control kind of the location of heroes and the tempo of these team fights. Gyrocopter having a lot of AoE potential himself through
5
Call Down
seconds
and
remaining.
Flak Cannon, and they don't want to add any more AoE madness to the mix in the form of the Magnus Reverse Polarity
Radiant
or even
team
the
pick.
Zeus Arc Lightning. But try as they may, they're not able to block out all of the AoE damage available to the PG Eclipse lineup, and for their third pick they grab the Phoenix, who has the Icarus Dive, the Fire Spirits, to a certain extent the Sunray, all providing AoE damage,
10 seconds remaining.
and the most dangerous of all is that Supernova, which he'll be able
5
to
seconds remaining.
get the burns going on everybody in the Radiant side of the
Reserve time.
map, and then jump into his Supernova. And for the time being, there's not a lot of very quick right clickers. Spirit Breaker, his right clicks are definitely dangerous. They're
Dire
definitely
team
lethal
pick.
with the 17% greater bash mechanic, but they're not always the fastest. So Spirit Breaker, not the strongest one to be able to combat this Supernova egg, nor is the Rubik and Witch Doctor. So we'll see if Team Resilience opt to pick a quick attack hero in the form of like maybe a PA for the hard carry,
10
or
seconds remaining.
one of the strongest heroes to combat that Supernova is definitely Troll, because
5
all he has to
seconds
do
remaining.
is pop his ult and all the heroes start to beat on it.
Treant Protector.
The
Radiant
second support
team
hero
pick.
picked up by PG Eclipse is the Treant Protector. So continuing with the Murder Ball 5-man team comp here, they grab an Overgrowth, and I think this is going to be pretty lethal in conjunction with Supernova. Because as you lock people down with
10
Overgrowth,
seconds
they
remaining.
can't quite get to the egg to right click it down. And so this is going
5
to limit
seconds
Team
remaining.
Resilience's picks even more, because you have to be
Reserve
thinking
time.
about this in terms of how do you stop that egg, how do you get away from the Gyrocopter. Queen of Pain has already been banned out. She's a hero who can start to get quite a bit of attack speed as she picks up the Orchid and maybe Mjolnir or something like that. But I still think that Troll is a strong pick here. His ultimate can, since it's
team
global,
ban.
it can work with Spirit Breaker regardless of where he charges. It also provides them with another ranged hero that can reach the Supernova even if they're not quite in melee range because of the Overgrowth.
10
And it
seconds
speeds up the
remaining.
attack animations of everyone. So the Rubik, the Witch Doctor, and now the Shadow
5
Fiend
seconds remaining.
will all be able to right click and provide damage much more aggressively.
Reserve time.
Oh, you heard it here in Darmin Cast Twitch chat, folks. Trav Dude has committed to co-casting a game with me, so that is a legally binding contract. Now he has to do it.
Radiant team ban.
Appreciate it, man. Yeah, we'll definitely have to get together
Dire
sometime,
team
do
pick.
some co-casts for old time's sake. Unfortunately, I won't be able to cast the old professional team that I used to follow, and that was Sneaky Nick's Assassins, before they I think they actually got rebranded to Fire or something. Team Fire. And then they just
10
disbanded.
seconds remaining.
Some of the players are still in the professional circuit. It was captained at the time by Fluff and
5
stuff.
seconds remaining.
And as we all know, he's still making his way through the professional
Reserve
scene.
time.
Last band's coming out. PG Eclipse getting rid of the Spectre, who has right now, I believe, the highest hero damage per minute ratio in the game. Second to him is Zeus, so a lot of hero damage being taken out of the game here as PG look to finish off their team fight lineup. I think they need a mid here, unless they opt to put Gyro or Phoenix mid. They have quite a bit that they can do with this lineup as they move heroes around. But I would like to see a mid, and I would like to see what I thought I would have seen, which is some of those healing mechanics. So I'm thinking a Necrophos here wouldn't be bad.
Templar Assassin.
You can do quite a bit with it. You
Radiant
can
team
interrupt the Spirit Breakers combo. You can drop Witch Doctor and Rubik, but they decide to ignore my delayed advice that they can't hear and pick up a Templar Assassin on the other side of the map. Team Resilience almost snap picking Viper. They knew what they wanted to do, and not a bad pick off, as a lot of the AoE damage coming out from PG Eclipse is going to be magic based, and the corrosive skin mechanic on Viper is going to help him reduce some of the damage he takes. A 100% bash mechanic, huh? Got a shout out from Shiro on Team Resilience here saying hi, Rebecca, and Rat Pack responding in kind saying yo. So going through introductions here for Team Resilience. Shout out from Cookie, whose man Sika, to Sika, whose grandma is in the hospital. So speedy recovery to Sika's grandmother. So going through introductions here, now that both teams seem to have exhausted their shoutouts, you have Shadow Fiend, who's going to be played by Soraya. Oh, they're going to make this difficult for me. I try to get you guys a good view of their cosmetics at the beginning of the game. You have Doge Wow playing the Spirit Breaker as he weaves his way through the jungle. I'm going to pause here shortly as they are going to run into the Phoenix and the Radiant Jungle. Ping's coming out. Viper is going to spot him out, throw a poison his way, but the Icarus dive is going to create the space he needs to get away, at least for now. Playing the Rubik, you're going to have Shiro as the game calms down here a little bit. Also hanging out in the jungle, you have X Shadow ZX
Where'd that horn
playing
come
the
from?
Viper. The Witch Doctor rocking the Monkey Immortal shoulder there, or I guess it's the back slot, is going to be played by Diosa. And across the river, on the Dire side of the map, you have The playing Disruptor. On the Phoenix, you have Slendy. In the mid lane here, playing the Templar Assassin, whose cosmetics appear to be broken, at least in this view, is Rat Pack. What's going on with the cosmetics there? You can see the golden glaives in that screen, but not on map there. So, apologize to fans of golden cosmetics. Playing the Stoic Treant Protector, you have Cookie, as he just kind of hangs out in the lane, waiting for someone to show up, and he'll eventually see the Spirit Breaker make his way into the lane. And last but not least is Joe Mike Hunt, which I will likely call Joe for the remainder of the game. Trav Dude, as we all know from his cast of old, used to be a big fan of the troll game. In the mid lane here we have some action. as Rat Pack and Soraya duke it out, but the charge is going to come out from AD2L, and the Shadow Race is on target, but Rat Pack has just enough life to stay alive, get back to the safety of her tower, and she eats a healing salve to recover. On the other side of the map, though, Shadow Fiend does not have that Shadow Fiend, so clutching his side there, he's going to have to YOLO swag his way back to the fountain in order to recover. And as AD2L makes the rotation here, it's buying time for the gyrocopter to farm all he can. Nope. It's the chart I'm looking for. And with that space, he's going to be sitting in the lead with 10 last hits. Meanwhile, in the bottom lane, they try to zone out Slendy, who has to Icarus dive back to the tower himself, eat a healing salve, and recover. Getting confirmation that it was Team Fire that bought out or took over for Sneaky Nick's assassin. It was a while ago. I know you can look it up on the Liquipedia website if you're at all interested, but at the time it was captained by Fluff and Stuff. So far 3 minutes into the game and no kills yet, despite the violent back and forth here in the mid lane between Soraya and Rat Pack. Both TA and Shadow Fiend capable of doing quite a bit of damage very early on in the game. You have pings coming out from Slendy as he tries to pull this side neutral camp into his lane to pull the creep equilibrium back towards his side of the map. But Witch Doctor and Rubik are there to anger the neutrals themselves and keep them from going too far back. Slendy throwing out some fire spirits and eating a maledict of his own is going to eat quite a bit of right-click damage here from the two supports, as well as some poisons from the Viper, and this slow may be just enough to yield first blood, and down he goes. Cookie making his way to the bottom lane, but he's there too late and winds up just feeding himself. So it's Team Resilience take an early lead so far here in Game 2 between these two teams. Game 1 going the way of PG Gaming, but so far it's looking like Team Resilience were out to commanding lead until they lost their middle laner there. Compliments of the rotating disruptor and the damage coming out from Rat Pack. But it is going to buy some space, buy some time for Rubik to get a little solo experience while the Shadow Fiend recovers. And he should hopefully use this time, now that Shadow Fiend is back, to head into the jungle and stack up some neutrals for the Shadow Fiend, who's going to need that recovery now. We have the smoke coming in, so instead of stacking camps, so it looks like, nope, he's not stacking camps. He's toying with the courier. He's going to pick up an observer ward and place it down to hopefully protect Rat Pack. You can see observer wards in pretty much the same location on both sides of the river. This has become more and more a common and popular warding spot for teams at all levels of Dota. Because it provides vision of the river, it provides vision of like this ganking alley, it also provides vision of your opponent's high ground. So it gives you a lot of information with one ward placement.
But not quite.
Oh, and I'm forgetting to throw up the Darmin cast overlays once again, so apologize for that. I know you guys are eager to see that sexy Darmin cast logo. Like I said, this is just my second day casting since the long break over the holiday season when AD2L opted to pause its matches. Viper harassing Slendy out of lane there, getting down to about 50 HP and making it back, but he'll have to spend his time hoofing it back to the fountain while the top lane, Doge Wow throwing out a little harass himself, guaranteeing a stun by charging through the creep wave into the
Dyer's
gyrocopter.
middle tower is under attack.
In game 1, you saw PG Eclipse grouping up together pretty early and forcing towers, and it looks like Team Resilience looking to make use of the same type of strategy here as they commit 3 heroes into the middle lane and start pressuring that middle tier 1 tower, which is currently only defended by the Disruptor. But overall,
Dyer's
pretty
middle
calm
tower is
game.
under attack.
Both teams seem to be content, just kind of farming, zoning each other out, and not playing too aggressive in any of the lanes. You can see across the top of the board here, pretty much everyone has full health. A little bit of damage was done to Joe, but beyond that, everyone playing pretty safe. Not ready to commit anything too fast yet. And I think this game is going to boil down to not only who can execute, because I think PG Eclipse have so much AoE teamfight potential that they can afford to screw up 1 or 2 of their mechanics and still be okay in big teamfight scenarios. But who can get the farm they need first? So if the Spirit Breaker and the Viper can withstand some of this prolonged team fight. Speaking of team fight in the top lane here, you have Doge charging forward onto the Disruptor. They are going to find it. They're met with a call down from the Gyrocopter, but they're just going to walk through that, and with the Witch Doctor heal, not be too worse for wear. So a quick 1-0 pickoff as they find the Disruptor. Definitely not the target they were hoping for. I mean, I'm sure they wanted to see the Gyrocopter, and Cookie baiting out the engagement here from Spirit Breaker as he invised up the Gyrocopter. Disruptor's going to call him back, and he's going to be stuck in the kinetic fields for a short bit, but being the space cow that he is, he's going to charge out of the lane towards, I presume, the bottom lane and call it off as soon as he gets into the river. So a relatively easy escape for him. Unfortunately, with the Spirit Breaker, you need to have some sort of stun or other lockdown mechanic to keep him in place. And for PG, that's going to mean either a very timely rocket, a very timely supernova, or committing an overgrowth for just the Spirit Breaker. None of which is very economical. Yep, and you have some viewers pointing out that Shadow Fiend has come back and recovered in this mid lane, even taking the damage and having to walk back to the fountain. He's past Rat Pack, and he's sitting on 57 CS, or excuse me, 58 CS with 16 denies to Rat Pack's 40 and 8.
Is under attack.
Meanwhile, everyone grabbing all the runes in the game.
Radiant's middle
Yeah,
tower
Shadow
is
Fiend
under
utilizing haste, but they're aware of where he is. He's going to engage on the Disruptor and very quickly melt him before being glimpsed back to the Dire secret shop, and using this haste he's going to be able to get out, but it's Doge Wow that's going to be caught on the wrong side of the river and chased down by the trio of Gyrocopter, Phoenix, and Templar Assassin, with Supernova coming out from the Phoenix for the first time in the game. Is going to be eventually dropped by the Shadow Fiend and Witch Doctor, as they were quick to turn around and right-click that egg down. Not ready to face that quite yet. Shadow Fiend eating a little bit of harassment damage here from the Disruptor, is going to juke out his Requiem of Souls and then get glimpsed back to the healing powers of the Witch Doctor as he winds up and this time releases the Requiem. Spirit Breaker is on his way into the match here, but it may be too late for the Shadow Fiend as he does drop, but just the end of his Death Requiem is going to catch Gyrocopter on the far end there, pretty much underneath his tower, and make it a 1-for-1 trade as he dies in the middle lane. And even with his death, because the Phoenix died there underneath the Radiant Tower, it's going to be a net advantage in favor of the Radiant
Dire's structures
squad,
are fortified.
who is Forge Gaming or Team Resilience, depending on what you want to call them for now.
Dire's top tower is
So once
under
again,
attack.
like in Game 1, you have a slight gold advantage at the 12-minute mark in favor of the Radiant team.
Visibility.
Only this time, it's Team Resilience who are currently favored. Doge Wow, along with Soraya, finding Disruptor once again. And this Shadow Fiend must have been wronged in a previous life by Disruptor, because he definitely has it out for him this game, catching him now 2 or 3 times in a row. While this is happening in the top lane, Gyrocopter was able to manage to get quite a bit of free farm uncontested until the Resilience squad make their rotation up here and try to zone him out, but instead of zoning him out, he's able to get the flak cannon off, he's able to get the rocket
Dire's
barrage
bottom
off
tower
twice,
is under attack.
and secure kills
Dire's
against the
bottom
Rubik
tower
and
has
Spirit
fallen.
Breaker. So between that and the heal from, I don't know where he got healed from. I think it was just his lifesteal? I'm guessing it was just his lifesteal. But it may be Shadow Fiend who's now in danger of falling as he eats quite a bit of burn, drops below 50 HP, but ultimately does not fall.
Radiant's
As
top tower is
4
under
heroes
attack.
head into the middle lane from PG Eclipse to try to meet the aggression of Shadow Fiend. And now Cookie, playing the Treant Protector, is going to play the role of medic, as he starts using living armor on cooldown on these towers to regen them up, providing not only that increased armor, but that critical tower regen, which is always nice to have on your side of the map. Especially since there's not a lot of tower pushing potential on the Radiant side of the map. There is, however, hero chasing potential, and it's Doge Wow chasing Joe in the top lane once again, getting caught out by, not even caught out, I believe he was the one to engage there, but ultimately being dropped by the Gyrocopter and Disruptor. While in the bottom lane you have Rubik, who was able to steal. I was wondering, I'm like, how is he invisible? He's level 6, so he actually stole Nature's guys as Treant Protector was fading, and unfortunately walking just close enough into the tower to be visible, is going to be dropped by Gyrocopter in his rocket barrage before he turns his focuses back into the middle lane and drops Shadow Fiend. Slendy at low health this time,
Radiant's
making a
top
dive,
tower is
burning
under attack.
the Radiant squad, but not committing the Supernova to it just yet, after he was dropped the last time he tried to ultimate.
Radiant's top tower is under attack.
And so both squads kind of fall back, hit the jungle, and look to get some recovery farm. You have Shiro hanging out here in the bottom lane, Doge farming up the top lane, while X-Shadow heads into the jungle. On the opposing side, you have Joe heading into the jungle, Slendy picking off one neutral camp before he heads back, and the remainder of the Dire squad hanging out in the middle lane, clearing creeps off of their tower. So
Dire's
small
top
flurry of
tower
activity
is
in the
under
top and
attack.
middle lane before both teams reset and get back to what seems to be the game plan on both sides of the map, which is farm up until you get your core set of items. Taking a look at the items here, you have boots all around. Everyone's got their preferred flavor of boots, from Arcane arcanes and few power treads on Team Resilience. One arcane, quite a few phase boots on the side of PG. And everyone starting to work towards their second and third items here as the Sange is up on Shadow Fiend. You have the Urn up on the Spirit Breaker, Mechanism up on Viper, Yasha up on Gyrocopter, and Ring up on Rat Pack, it looks like. Disruptor may be working towards that new lens. Meanwhile, in the bot room here, as I take you on a tour of items, a fight breaks out. And it's Team Resilience trying to focus and drop the Gyrocopter, which they ultimately do accomplish before turning their sights onto Disruptor and committing a smoke to finish off the Trinity Protector. It's going to be a 4-for-1 trade until Rat Pack in the back lines here drops the Rubik, making it a 4-for-2, looking to see if he can't drop one more hero. He's going to eat a big Shadow Raise, as well as the damage coming out from the Urn there is going to force him to abandon his invisible post, and eventually he drops as well, making it a 5-for-2 trade. About 2,800 gold favoring Team Resilience, and 3,000 experience swinging in their favor as well. Trying to take advantage of that team fight when they push into the middle tower, and it's Spirit Breaker who gets caught on the wrong side of the river and glimpsed back by the Disruptor. Is eventually going to fall as Overgrowth is committed by Cookie. And it makes it essentially a 5-for-3, maybe 5-for-4 trade here, as it's Rubik's turn to get caught out. But Witch Doctor from the far side of the river dropping Death Ward, it doing quite a bit of damage to the Disruptor, but not enough to make a kill. So combining those two fights into one, it turns into a 5-for-4 trade. Still slightly favoring Team Resilience, but you can see kind of the swingy nature of the game here, where it was definitely in Team Resilience's favor. PG Eclipse fought back, pretty much evened out the scoreboard. Resilience took another big team fight, and then PG, getting back to their tower in quick time, were able to get a few pick-off kills of their own and drive that equilibrium, that gold equilibrium, back towards the neutral position. Experience telling the exact same story. 18-19 minutes into the game here, and it's sub 1,000 experience in favor of Team Resilience, but that may not be the case here much longer unless they pull out a successful team fight here with Doge charging into the Disruptor, ultimately stuck in place by the Overgrowth and ultimate from the Disruptor, while the teams commit a Supernova out of the Phoenix, and it almost drops, but he does get killed, and now it's Team Resilience heading back to the safety of their side of the river, all of them very low on health. Meanwhile, on the opposing side, PG Eclipse losing 2 heroes of their own, but Gyrocopter and Trinity Protector, not too much damage absorbed by those 2 heroes, but Disruptor is going to have to head all the way back to base, as is Witch Doctor, more for mana at this point, and pick up a spare ward and a cloak than it is for pure healing. So another 2-for-2 trade, as these teams are neck and neck right now, and you get the sense that this game is going to be broken wide open by either of these teams at any moment, depending on who takes the next big team fight. It looks like that next big team fight is going to occur in the top lane,
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack,
as PG get in position to defend it, and Team Resilience have all 5 of their team members here. In the mid lane, you have Rat Pack, whose teleport is on cooldown, and Phoenix, who would be able to make it to the top lane,
Radiant's middle tower
but
is
doesn't
under
have the
attack.
Supernova for the next 18 seconds. And so it's going to be Team Resilience making use of this space and diving onto the Disruptor at first, but he's able to glimpse back the Spirit Breaker as Team Resilience staying focused. They know who they want to target first, and for now that's the Gyrocopter. They ultimately do kill the Gyrocopter and finish off the Disruptor. and even pick up that Treant Protector while in the mid lane.
Is under attack.
Phoenix
Dire's
happy to
top
watch,
tower is
I shouldn't
under
say
attack.
happy, content to
Dire
watch
locked down
his
their
allies die in the
structures.
top lane in exchange
Dire's
for
top
the middle
tower
tier
is
1
under
tower.
attack.
Again, hoping probably
Dire's
to
top
cut off
tower
some of
has
the
fallen.
map control from Team Resilience, which is how they were able to execute and buy space for themselves so well in Game 1.
Dire's top tower is under attack.
Harrison MLG rejoining the Twitch chat stream. So he's asking for what he missed, and what you've missed so far is a very close match between these two teams, but Team Resilience right now fighting as a 5-man squad despite PG's team fight lineup, and since they're able to do that, they're
Dire's
catching
top tower is under
out
attack.
PG Eclipse heroes one by one, in this case catching out the Gyrocopter first and again,
Dire's
and then
top tower is under
turning
attack.
their focus to the Treant
Radiant's
Protector,
bottom tower is under
was
attack.
trying to get there in
Dire's
time
top
to
tower has
save the Gyro,
fallen.
but it's not going to be enough. And it's 2 towers and now map control favoring the Radiant squad once again. But what you missed from the conclusion of Game 1 was PG Eclipse playing much better than they have been so far this game and taking Game 1 at the 29-minute mark after just crushing all the outer towers very quickly. X-Shadow catching out the Disruptor for now, committing the Viper Strike and some heavy right clicks. The poison's going to be enough to finish him off. And now Doge, wow, finding the not the Spear Breaker, the Phoenix. He's able to get the 17% stun off as well as his ult, but Supernova being committed just as a safety mechanism to prevent his own death, and it's going to help his team secure a kill against Viper. So it's a 1-for-1 trade favoring PG Eclipse, trading away the Disruptor, whose net worth right now, let's take a look, is about 6k beneath that of the Viper. So definitely PG will definitely make that trade any day of the week. Trading a support for a core. That's how you win games. That's how you even out the gold charts as well, but looks like the chart has not quite
Dire's
updated.
middle tower is under attack.
Guess there should be a small dip there. There it is. As they were able to get that counter kill. Ether Lens and a smoke coming out from the Witch Doctor. Now, my understanding of, and it looks like they're going to utilize the smoke right away as they get in position, smoke up and start to rotate. My understanding of the Ether Lens on Witch Doctor is it does not extend the range of the Death Ward, especially since it is a standalone unit. The ward itself does not count as Witch Doctor for all intensive purposes, but it does allow Witch Doctor to place the ward further away from himself. So like he was able to place it in the low ground of the river before, he might be able to place it all the way across the river. But now as Team Resilience head into the pit, and you can see that range I was talking about before. He was here, he placed it here before he got overgrowth by the Treant Protector, who has ultimately fallen here. BKB utilized by Shadow Fiend is they're trying to focus down the Gyrocopter, but his move speed, due to complements of the Sanj and Yasha and phase boost, is going to allow him to escape, but the same cannot be said for the rest of his allies. And now map is being drawn on, and I suspect Team Resilience are going to head back into the pit, finish off Roshan, and try to make something happen with the remaining 30 seconds of space they've created after that team fight.
Radiant's top tower is under attack.
Roshan has fallen
So the
to
big team fight
Radiant.
mechanic that you expected to see coming out of PG Eclipse is actually being utilized by Team Resilience. Even better. You saw all of Team Resilience were stuck in the Roche pit.
Radiant's
The fight
middle
broke
tower
out,
is
they
under
rotated
attack.
here, and again there's another bottleneck here on the stairs. but instead it's Team Resilience who kind of take the fight here in this a little bit more spread out area, and then all over the Ancient and Secret Shop part of the map for the Dire Squad. And because the fight was so
Dire's
spread
middle
out
tower is under attack.
and kind of
The
prolonged,
Dire have
it
reinforced their structures.
didn't allow PG to hit all of their spells perfectly. You didn't
Dire's
see the
middle
big
tower is under attack.
kinetic field into Supernova, into Call Down, into Overgrowth that just team wiped the Resilience squad.
Dire's middle tower has fallen.
Rat Pack heading into his own jungle is going to be charged by Spirit Breaker, who have been carrying dust on him for just such an occasion. And sacrificing the dust there is going to yield them a kill. Help furthering their kill lead 25-16. Their gold advantage by
Dire's
yet another
middle tower
1,000.
is
After that
under
big team
attack.
fight, you can see the map curving back in favor of Team Resilience
Dire's middle tower is
to the
under
tune of
attack.
10k
Middle
at the
tower
27-minute
has
mark,
fallen.
as Resilience take not only the Roshan fight, the pick-off of TA in
Dire's bottom
the
tower
Dire
is
jungle,
under
but
attack.
the middle tier 1 tower, the middle tier 2 tower, and now grouping up as
Dire's
5,
bottom
which
tower is
on
under
paper
attack.
seems ill-advised. They're going to head into the bottom lane. You can see right there, they're
Dire's
all
bottom
grouped up.
tower has
In theory,
fallen.
that's exactly what PG Eclipse are looking to do. They're looking to get them in a condensed area and then just drop the ceiling on top of them, but it's not the case. Kinetic field being utilized here, as well as the Supernova and the Disruptor Static Storm, but it's not enough. And the Team Resilience heroes playing very disciplined Dota. They're able to focus,
Dire's bottom
drop
tower
the egg,
is under attack.
and with BKB rolling on Shadow Fiend, he's just wandering through all the damage, right-clicking heroes down. He gets the Gyrocopter, he gets the Disruptor, and it's a 5-man team wipe for just the cost of a
Dire's
Spirit
bottom
Breaker.
tower
The
is under attack.
tier 2 bottoms down, the tier 3 bottoms down. This is definitely a lane of Rex, and as a result, it's PG Eclipse that throw in the towel this time. Once again, right around the 29-minute mark. So, both games being pretty one-sided so far tonight, and going one game in favor of PG Eclipse, and game 2 going in favor of Team Resilience, as they figured out what PG Eclipse were trying to accomplish. And even though PG had the stronger team fight lineup on paper, they said, yeah, let's play that game. Let's play the team fight game and force the fights early. They were able to get pickoffs 1 and 2 at a time, and that prevented PG from having their entire team fight lineup ready to go at any one given time, even if Team Resilience was forced into a bottleneck situation. And they just started to snowball out of control. It took a little bit for them to get online, like I had commented before. With kind of a slow start to the game in terms of kills, but once they came online and they got that tankiness behind them that they were looking for, on the Viper getting his mechanism, for example, the Shadow Fiend finishing Sanjin Yash, and most distinctly the BKB made him nearly untouchable. They were able to just kind of go wherever they wanted to go. Dojoao on the Spirit Breaker providing that initiation and closing gaps quickly before PG are able to set up and initiate how they wanted to do their fights. So congratulations to both teams going 1-1, continuing through the AD2L Season 10 Heroic Bracket. They're going to have one win under their belt as they progress. Thank you for everyone who's been tuning in to tonight's games. My name is Darmin, coming to you live on twitch.tv/DarminCast. Check out my feeds on Twitter. I'll be posting this as well as yesterday's casts from Firestarter and Kick-Ass Patrol, not Sanity's Eclipse, Empower, and a few other games that I casted yesterday out on my YouTube channel, so please check those out. A few of you have asked if I'd be willing to cast the AD2L EU Open. Yes, I'm open to that. If you give me that information, I'd be happy to talk with you about it. And until next time, thank you everyone for tuning in again, My name is Darmin, and I greatly appreciate all of you who have joined me for the first time and followed the channel. I always appreciate new fans, new follows. So, that's about it. Until next time, good luck, have fun.